This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Good evening and welcome to Apex Racing TV and the iRacing Esports Network for the BSR MX5 Pro Series from Circuit de la Sarthe in Le Mans. Most of you are probably sick of looking at this place after this week. My name is Chaz Draycott. I'm alongside Tyler Maxson for the first time tonight on the cameras. First time working together on this one, Tyler. It's going to be a pretty strange evening, I imagine, in these cars around here.
Yeah, definitely going to be an interesting one. Again, welcome to Apex Racing TV and welcome to the iRacing Esports Network. And just as you said, pretty much everyone going to be sick of this track, especially after tonight's action of non-stop drafting, is pretty much going to be the key to this one. Who do you have the draft with? Who is your teammate and who is not? That is going to be the key to winning tonight, is having someone who can push you and stay in line and not move all around. Currently, it's Ash Beard sitting on the pole.
Yeah, there's only one car out on track at the moment. That is the number 99 machine of Max Wright for Team Auto Mech Hill. And he's just coming to the end of his qualifying lap now. I'm hoping he gets a lap in because the session is really quickly counting down here. So he goes through the final few corners here. Not trying to take too much curb. We all know how horrible those curbs are. Runs it nice and wide on the AstroTurf. Goes for the line. Currently 23rd with a 5:02.65. And it doesn't look like he's improved, to be honest. He's done personal best sectors, but no, it's still not enough to get ahead of Steve Hansford, who lines up just ahead of him on the grid then. So that will give us our grid for the race. Really good entry list tonight as well, actually. We've got 45 cars tonight, so a capacity grid. And, well, I'm pretty sure the Mulsanne straight for the first time here, Tyler, is going to look very interesting.
Yeah, definitely going to be an interesting straight and interesting to see if he can't get it. I believe that Max Wright actually was just on an outlap there, so he is not going to be able to set a lap time. I don't think. He's got just a few seconds left in the session to do it. Yeah. So definitely going to be difficult, and there we go.
Yeah, I was going to say he needs probably about 3 to 5 working days first before we could probably get around there, but yeah, there we go. As now the drivers will take their place on the grid and all get ready to go. So, running you very quickly through the grid then, you can see there the Excite Energy iRacing car of Ashley Beard on pole position, Nils Carstensen second, then it's Charlie Summers third, Jack Ashton fourth, Jason Cooper is fifth, Brian Holmes is sixth, with Cesare Rizzo in seventh, Ben Sharp is in eighth place, then it's Stephen Baxter and Martin Sampson, the highest placed AM, in 10th. Martin Plowman is in 11th place. Adam McNally follows him in the Excite iRacing car in 12th. Then we've got Nick McCarron, Alex Rivette, Mikey Key, Christian Brown, Wouter Van Essen in 17th, and Carl Hardy in 18th place. Stephen Cooley and Scott Malcolm make up the 10th row of the grid, with Kip Stevens and Steve Hansford 21st and 22nd. Max Wright, who we just saw there, is 23rd. Graham Sesford in 24th. Abdulkir Al Amri is 25th, with David Ayres 26th. They're then followed by Adrian Hendy and Dave Hampson in 27th and 28th. Then it's very quickly, we'll fly through the rest. It's Steve Hefford, James McRitchie, Luke Cooper, Jamie Ayres, Stuart Dick, Craig Cameron, Jeroen Ursum, Joe McDonald, Andy Maxwell, Charles Kellyman, Adam Delmont, Rob Graham, Dale Bennison, Craig Jones, Benjamin Mears, Josh Rayfield, and Carl Giacolet makes up the 45-car grid. Quite a few penalties from last week by the look of it there, as a lot of these guys are usually qualifying near the top. And for the first time tonight, out of 4 races, the lights are out and they're away. Plenty of plumes of smoke as the cars get off the line. It's all about minimising the wheel spin, and Nils Carstensen here, it looks like he's got a really good start there, Tyler, and he's probably going to go for it at turn 1, but look at them as the field fans out.
Yeah, the field is now going to fan out. We're seeing them spread 3 and 4 wide down into turn 1. It's Nils Carstensen all the way up on the inside. Ashbeard is going to try maybe and get him down the inside into turn 1. We're going to keep an eye further back. We got several drivers, one driver actually getting hit up the back there into turn number 1, but everyone going to keep it clean despite them going 3 and 4 wide. But they are all going to keep it clean going through turn 1, but Ashbeard is going to come out on top as they exit turn 1, and Nils Carstensen is going to settle into second as they get ready to head on to Mulsanne Straight.
I think Cesare Rizzo's had an issue. He's dropping down the order, the same with Kip Stevens. There was someone around just out of the first 2 corners there as they went through the right-hand side of the chicane. I think someone might have just got turned, and then slowly in front of the pack he just came back on, and yeah, it's caused a bit of an issue for them, unfortunately. They get onto the Mulsanne Straight, like you say, for the first time. One of the Year 1 racing cars, that was Alex Brevet going slowly. There's Brian Holmes. He's had a nightmare of a start. 38 places lost for him already. And the drafting and slipstreaming begins at the front of the field. It's 2 Swift Cooper Esports cars against 2 of the Excite Energy iRacing cars at the moment, with Swift Cooper being beneficiaries of the slipstream so far. Charlie Summers leading the way at the moment. I'm not sure whether you saw it last week, Tyler, but Charlie Summers won race 3 of the evening, I believe, at Watkins Glen from 42nd on the grid. And he's got a slowdown penalty now, so he's definitely not going to do that here yet. Oh, there's a car around the background.
Yeah, that is the car of Ben Sharp, as I tried to get him queued up there, so he had a disaster of a start there. Just a quick spin around, and that's really going to hurt him, because it just sets you on the back foot for the entire bit of the race. We'll get a replay of that for you here.
So they're 3 wide going into the chicane. It all got settled out. Oh, he just overdoes it, doesn't he? Tries to overdrive it off the corner.
Yeah, just tries to overdrive it there, and that hurt him bad. But as Jack Ashton and Ashbeard into the leads of the 2 Excite iRacing cars, moving up 1 and 2. They are quickly followed, though, by Nils Carstensen. And if you just saw there, Jack Ashton hitting the brakes just a little bit going into the corner, that is to minimize the draft that Nils Carstensen is going to get on the next straightaway, but it isn't going to matter. He is going to go and look around the outside into Mulsanne's corner. So he'll look down into Mulsanne's corner. He won't be able to get it. And as you can just see, they're fanning out 3 and 4 wide behind him. It's all kicking off behind, and the front 3 just pretty much staying in line.
Yeah, Stephen Baxter involved there as well. We look at Martin Plowman in the Fury Sim Sports car. There's Steve Hefford around the outside of Scott Malcolm and Abdulkir Al Amri. Scott and Steve running quite wide there. And just behind them there, Dave Hampson trying to take advantage of that as well. He's going to get the slipstream down the straight. They're going to go 3 wide. Steve Hefford moves to the right there to help his teammate. And that's part of racing around here, really, isn't it, Tyler, to be fair? With the strategy of helping your teammates out when it comes to the slipstreaming, as we were saying before. Yeah,
definitely important to help out your teammates and try and hurt the others as much as possible. This battle, though, is 3 wide and possibly even 4 wide down into Indianapolis. That's definitely not what you want to be doing down into there. It's very, very tight Indianapolis, but they are still going to go 3 wide. Scott Malcolm all the way on the outside, and they are not going to make contact. Everyone going to keep it clean. And there's the battle farther back in your field. This is 29th, pretty much all the way through 37th, all really close and within a couple tenths of each other. Alex Rivet, if I can actually cue him up here, is dropping.
I think he went off to the right, didn't he? I think he might. I don't know if he had contact or whether he just lost it coming into Indianapolis. It's easy to do it on the brakes, as one of the Aston Martins very famously did in the 24-hour race just last weekend. But these guys are not giving up. But there are the top three. Then Nils Carstensen for Swift Cooper Esports leading the way ahead of the Excite Energy iRacing pair of Ashley Beard and Jack Ashton. Mikey Key has gone, well, he went up for a second then to the top. Oh, Hefford's going down the order, so is Mikey Key. He went up to the top of the AM class and then he's gone flying down. Oh, there's a car around there, that's the number 15 in the Porsche curves. He's been hit by Mikey Key as well. That was Wouter van Essen. Mikey Key went down the order slightly. Oh, there he is, he's gone off. Oh, Hefford gets turned as well. So Mikey's going slowly there. Oh, Wouter van Essen, he makes contact with, I think it was Nick McCarron. You'll just see it at the lefty screen. McCarron made contact with him. Here he is. You'll see McCarron goes to the left to avoid it. Wouter van Essen is there. They tap. Wouter's out of shape, loses it on the grass, comes back across. Mikey Key clips him. Big accident, and of course in a very vital part of the track. That's not really where you want that to happen. You can hear more contact as well. Wouter's been hit by one of the year one cars there. I believe that was, it wasn't Alex Rivette because he was already down there, but yeah, it's been a bit of a nightmare for those boys, but that's only been one lap. We're only on to the second one now, obviously, with it being about a 5-minute lap here.
Yeah, we're only going to get about 3 laps in this race here today. Mikey Key, Wouter van Essen, Steve Hefford, and another Steve Hefford, as we see, Hansford, I'm sorry, and Steve Hefford. Those drivers all involved in first lap incidents. They are all out of the race, and I believe that Jason Cooper is out as well. He is into the pit lane with a lot of damage, so that is another driver claimed here on lap 1. I'll quickly get a replay of what happened to Jason Cooper as they head up here. If I can quickly jump and find him. There we go. So we'll see what happened one more time. Nope, just have him coming into the pit lane. So definitely not what he wants to start his evening off with. Definitely going to be hoping for the reverse grid.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Swift Cooper Esports boys are the sort of drivers where they could have a torrid start to the evening and it not matter too much. They've got the pace and they've got the ability to, you know, make their way back through. If they avoid incidents, they're pretty untouchable, really. A couple of teams in the series that are, such as the Excite iRacing boys, Swift Cooper, SimLab, you know, they've always sort of had issues where they've had penalties going into a round or, you know, not been able to qualify or had pit lane starts, and they can make their way back through. And at a track like Le Mans, it's difficult because while you do have the slipstream to make your way through the field, if you've got a gap back from these guys, I mean, 4th place is 4.2 seconds back from these, and you're not going to get slipstream from there, no matter how strong it tends to be in the MX5. And of course, Charlie Summers in 4th place, sorry, under pressure from Stephen Baxter, and he's actually teammates with Charlie. Stephen is actually sponsored by V-Racer and the others. He is part of V-Racer, I should say. He does run that different livery just for the sponsorship, so it's good to see him representing it. It does hurt my OCD slightly of people having the same livery in the same team, as we see Luke Cooper with Jamie Ayres sending it down the inside into the second chicane there. Great shot of the cars as they fly onto the brakes. Ayres running a bit wide. There's Rob Graham. And there's Dale Bennison for year one. Oh, and just a bit of a tap there from Maxwell on Bennison. Look at these three here, Tyler. This is fantastic. And of course, we were just talking beforehand, you race these MX5s in real life, so you know what these things handle like when it comes to these sorts of races.
Yeah, these cars are definitely some of the best handling cars on the planet. They're some of the best learning cars whenever it comes to learning racing, because they really do. They teach you how to manage draft and how to manage your tires and also just manage the car over the course of a run. It's a car that you can really push, but it really hurts you if you over push it, especially in the Global MX5 Cup with the same regulations that they run here in the BSR MX5 Cup. As there we go, Niels Carstensen goes to the lead. He had an absolutely awesome run out of the corner. Beautiful job by him to move up that many positions.
Yeah, it was very strategic. I think what he did was, we saw him going down the straight before and he was holding back from these guys, because obviously if you start going onto a straight and you're right behind the car in front, you're not going to get much of a slingshot past them. You're only going to get a bit of slipstream, and then maybe when you pull out you'll end up, you know, being at the same speed. So you want to start a little bit further back and then get the slingshot to, you know, overspeed them. And I think he was playing the strategic game there and sort of lining himself up for the last lap and practicing where he wants to be ahead, because you don't want to be the car in first going on to the last lap in the lead. That's the number 33 of Adrian Hendy and Ben Sharp's nightmare of a race in that 24 car has just got even worse. I think he stayed on the throttle though, and if that was me, I probably would have slammed on the brakes and just tried to avoid that rather than trying to speed past it. But either way, it's one of the heat of the moment things, and it's a real shame. We've got Al Amri here with Scott Malcolm side by side into the Porsche curves. And it must be
as we
quite
head
there.
through the Porsche curves, these drivers really, really close. Here's Martin Sampson. He's moving up. He's moved up 2 positions off the start, but Dave Hampson, though, in the SimLabs car, moving up 13 spots. Charlie Summers up 19 from a starting position. All these drivers moving up some excellent spots.
Yeah, some really good recovery drives so far, using everything they can. I've actually got Dave Hampson shown as 21 places gained here. Well, I'm not sure whether he might have moved up on the grid when I got into our timing software that we have, so could be incorrect. Nils Carstensen, fastest lap of the race, 4:57.3. There is Charlie Summers in 4th place, and there is your race leader. And he's got a little bit of a gap to the Excite cars now here, Tyler, so it may not help him in the long run, but you never know. It might not give them as much slipstream as they want down the Mulsanne straight as McRitchie does the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, it's definitely not what he wants to have. He doesn't want to have that big, massive gap because 7/10 plus a teammate pushing Ash Beard is just going to close him right up to him and just let him just slingshot by both of them. And he's going to be back in 3rd, but honestly, that may be what he ends up wanting here, because if he can sit 3rd going into this final lap, because next lap is going to be white flag, we may get the checkered flag at the end of this lap, but I'm thinking that we are going to get one more lap. So if he wants to be slotted into 3rd, going onto that last straightaway, that's where he needs to be.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one to call. It'd be interesting to quickly go on board with Beard and see if we can visually see the speed difference as he closes up on him, because like we were saying before, when you start a bit further back and you get a massive slipstream, you can really feel it in these cars, and Beard's already alongside. Actually, you can see in the foreground there. It's going to be down the inside into the first chicane. Baxter there going past Summers, and he cuts across in front just before they get on the brakes. Braking so much later in these cars than you would in like a GTE car or an LMP car. It's bonkers. Beard really driving the wheels off that MX5 through the chicane. Is another great battle further back. Al Amri and Malcolm still not resolved this issue. Carl Hardy's got a great run as well. Look at that in the white and green result clothing car. Gets on the brakes, scares Jamie Ayres a little bit as they all try and filter through. Luke Cooper at the bottom of your shot as well. We look at Carl Hardy now. Different lines through there, all trying to carry the momentum. And here's Rob Graham and Stuart Dick for the asymmetric team. And, well, Stuart Dick really got that hooked up on the exit. A little bit of a slide, but he really got the power down there, didn't he, Tyler?
Yeah, really got the power down. That's exactly what he needs, though. And we'll focus here on the battle with Charlie Summers, Stephen Baxter, and Adam McNally as they head into the second Mulsanne chicane. We'll get back to the battle in the lead. And here's another close battle. 5 cars are going to go 3 abreast now into the second Mulsanne chicane. That's definitely not what you want to be doing. It's a very, very wide entry into the chicane and just kind of closes down once you get to the exit. So you've all got to pretty much be 2 by 2. Not really a place you want to be going 3 wide. Stuart Dick also behind Rob Graham, but we are going to go back to the front battle as there's just a 10th separating them into Mulsanne's corner. So let's see how good of a run Nils Carstensen can get out of here.
Oh, Beard runs a little bit wide on the exit, but it also means that Carstensen's not got the longest of runs in the slipstream to get past him. The one to watch here is going to be Jack Ashton in 3rd. Nils pulls to the right. Jack's got plenty of options here. He can go with Nils on the right. But look at that overspeed that he's got now. You've got to think Jack Ashton might be able to get this done before Indianapolis. Or he might, no, he's hanging back slightly. He's going to save this till the very end of the lap here, I think.
Yeah, I think he is going to. I think he's going to try to hook up with his teammate Ash Beard just ahead of him. Maybe try to push past Nils Carstensen going through the Porsche curbs. Possibly try on the next straightaway. Keep in mind, there is one more straightaway before we hit the Porsche curbs that he can possibly go by him on. So definitely something that we'll have to keep an eye on there.
Yeah, you've got to just play the strategy game here. And also, of course, they don't know whether this is going to be the last lap or not. I'm not sure whether the white flag's gone out, but they can only hope, really. As Beard pulls out to the right-hand side then. Only a slight overspeed. They're doing about the same speed now. But he's just creeping in front slowly. We can't see Jack Ashton at the bottom of the shot yet. but he's actually quite a bit further back now. It's not worked out for him as well as he'd hoped. We'll see what he can do through the Porsche curves. Here's Luke Cooper trying to get past Jamie Ayres with Carl Hardy at the bottom of shot as well, using all of the road is Luke Cooper. Carl Hardy was really close in there, but it's Ashley Beard still in front here. And I don't think there's much else Nils Carstensen can do here. Beard a little bit out of shape though through the left-hander, and Nils has got the run, you know. I just don't quite think there's enough slipstream in the world to help Nils Carstensen out now. And there's 15 seconds left on the clock here, so it's going to be very close going into these final few corners. Are we going to get another lap? And another question to ask as well, are these guys going to have enough fuel?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. Obviously, I'm just seeing in the chat that the AMs last night ended up getting 4 laps in that race, so if these guys get 4 laps as well, and I believe they are, so they are going to get 4 laps in this race, so that is going to be another lap. So like you said, is there going to be enough fuel? Knowing that the AMs did 4 laps last night, you would think that these guys would fuel up for 4 laps.
Yeah, definitely. I think this might be a repeat of Monaco 1996 at this point, where only 3 cars finished. You're going to have to just keep our eyes out for people dropping off now as we look at Adam Delmont and Rob Graham side by side into the final chicanes. This will be interesting to see. Delmont goes down the inside. Oh, Graham's teammate. That was Benjamin Mears nearly going into the back of him there. I think he expected Rob to carry a bit more pace through there. Really close to making contact.
He did expect it. Now going into the first chicane is this group of 4. So everyone's really spread out at this point though, except for Andy Maxwell, who's going down the inside of Dale Bennison in the Year 1 racing car. So let's see if he can make him a move. He's gone down 8 from his starting. He's gone up 8 positions from his starting spot, if I am correct on that one. So he has done a great job to move up in this race. But let's focus back on the battle for the lead, as there is some slipstream from Nils Carstensen on Ash Beard, and there's the overspeed from Jack Ashton. Is he going to take both of them here?
He's absolutely flying. I don't think he's going to quite get it done before the first chicane, but that just shows you how strong the overspeed can be. That was an incredible difference. There's Adam McNally making the move on Dave Hampson for 6th place. He's now got Steve Baxter in front. 3 wide here from Max Wright, Abdulkir Al-Amri and Scott Malcolm in the middle. There you go, there's a reference for you. Malcolm in the middle quite literally right now. And if I didn't fluff the sentence, it probably would have had a bit more comedic value to it. We look at Rizzo on the right-hand side here. There's another great overspeed against the likes of Delmont and Mears. But this is it, like we were saying, Tyler. It's just all about being strategic and making sure that you're in the right place at the right time. This isn't just a race where you want to be at the front all the time. You want to go into the last lap. You can see Carstensen hanging back a little bit there going into the chicane. He wants to make sure that he maximises his run out of here so he gets the slipstream. You'll see him he'll probably wait behind these guys before he goes on to the next straight and make sure that he just gets a decent slipstream from it, to be fair, as Hardy and Ayres side by side into the second chicane. Last of the late breakers here, and Jamie Ayres brakes a lot later, gets it turned in, and there he goes. So here's the lead pair then. He's shoving his teammate down the straight, but they've got to be careful because there is an incident point limit in this championship, so they've probably communicated and letting each other know how many they've got, but you can never be too sure, as McNally and Summers there are scrapping alongside with Baxter. Great stuff from Stephen Baxter. Oh, the contact with McNally. I think that's broken something on the car. That's a real shame, that. I don't think that was on McNally, to be fair. I think he just lost it. Well, Baxter will be fuming.
I think that he just lost it there. Just so unfortunate, though, for him that late on in the race. But he will be advantaged by the reverse grid, so you do have to keep that in mind. We do have the reverse grid that will definitely help him out for the next race. And that's also going to play a factor in it. And the front 3 are 3 wide going into Indianapolis.
Nils Carstensen gets the move done going into Indy. Brilliant stuff. Very brave. And now he's just going to want to run away with this from these 2 Excite Energy iRacing cars, but dipping a wheel on the gravel is not going to help him do that. Ashley Beard is going to take every opportunity he can. Jack Ashton is a very wise racer. You can see in his picture there he races MG Metros. He does a bloody good job in it and all, to be honest with you. He's going to be just sort of, well, at this point he's just going to be thinking of what he can do. There's not really anything else to it. Interestingly enough, just ahead of these guys, in 38th overall is Jason Cooper, who is Nils Carstensen's teammate. Well, I'm not sure what help he's going to be at this point. Doesn't seem to be going at full racing pace, but he does have damage. Jason's been a real formidable driver this season. Ashley Beard round the outside into the Porsche curves, beautifully executed. And now Jack Ashton comes down the inside, doesn't quite get it done on Carstensen. This is going to be a great scrap through these final few corners. You can see the momentum shift there. Oh, Carstensen's bouncing around on the curbs a little bit. Seeing what sort of exit he gets out of here. He's on the throttle. Oh, he's run quite wide there, and you can get slowdowns on those curbs. But he's made a really good run out of it. He's surely got to go down the inside. Ashley Beard's going to go defensive. Is Neil's going to go late on the brakes and try and get the turn in into the second part of the chicane? He's earlier on the brakes, but he's clipped the back end of Beard. Beard's going to get a slowdown for that, surely. So is Nils Carstensen. Jack Ashton is going to win this race, as far as I know, because his teammate's going to have to slow down and get out of the way. Jack Ashton certainly does win race 1 of the evening. Ashley Beard second, Nils Carstensen third. Real shame it ended in contact like that, but at least they finished. Hampson 4th, Summers 5th. McNally 6th for Energy iRacing. Sorry, Excite Energy iRacing. There is Martin Plowman chucking it over the curbs. Max Wright here in 13th place, losing out to Jamie Ayres in the end, but he beats Carl Hardy. And there is Luke Cooper really getting some air over those curbs. Wow, this is close. Stuart Dick really pushing Craig Cameron. He's not going to go down the inside there, surely. Pressurises Cameron, who runs wide. Can Stuart Dick get the run? Not quite. Oh, I think Stuart Dick might have got a slowdown there because he very quickly slammed on the brakes.
I think he actually ran out of fuel there, either that or a slowdown like you said. But we got some pretty good battles here now. 3 wide as they're going to try it. No, they're not. They were definitely smart enough to not try that one going into the second to last chicane.
That's Joe McDonald and
be...
Rob Graham. Oh no, Joe McDonald turns Rob Graham. Josh Rayfield is going to be the beneficiary of it. I'd quite like to see that one back, you know. I don't know whether Graham ran McDonald out of room there, but that was, to me, that's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, as I quite often say. But yeah, shame again that it ends in contact. They did very well to keep it sort of contact free through the first parts of the chicane, but yeah, while it was only 4 laps, what a very interesting race 1 of the evening.
Yeah, definitely an interesting race 1. We'll quickly get a replay of what happened here for you with Rob Graham down into the chicane. Let's see exactly what happened here. So
let's just look at who's where. Oh, McDonald actually lost it on the exit, to be fair. There wasn't a massive amount of room for Joe McDonald, but if you look as they come out of the last part, there is contact, so he loses the back end anyway. Yeah, I think that's a racing incident, to be honest with you. I don't think either of them squeezed one another. There was always going to be a bit of contact, and it was just the fact it upset the car slightly. And that's what caused it, in my opinion, anyway. If you want to send me some written abuse in the post, then you're more than welcome to. But yeah, I think that was a nice way to start our evening. That was a couple of little incidents, but nothing too major.
Yeah, nothing too major there. Jason Cooper just going to quickly finish out his race. He had a torrid race, and he's just now heading down the Mulsanne, so we're going to have to wait for him to finish up here. It's going to be quite a while. But Jack Ashton, Ashley Beard, and Nils Carstensen, that is your top 3 in race 1. As soon as I get the grid results up, we will go into the grid results, then into the reverse grid.
And it's going to be very interesting, this reverse grid, because a lot of these guys are absolute kings at making it through the field. But like I said before, when a couple of groups do tend to spread out, it makes it harder to maintain the slipstream. And like you know, really, once you've not got any slipstream around here, you're pretty much a sitting duck, and you're not going to make much progress unless it's in the windy bits. We've got Jeroen Ursum. Hello, Jeroen. He is giving us a guess of 25 on the reverse grid wheel. We nickname him Mystic Meg sometimes because he's very, very good at guessing what the reverse grid wheel is going to be. Partly because people thought he was bribing Alex Simpson to give him a good position, but I can't confirm or deny that at the moment, unfortunately.
Well, I can't confirm that he hasn't paid me anything, and the reverse grid is definitely a totally random grid, absolutely. Wonderful system. And we'll just wait for Jason Cooper here to finish up, then we will quickly jump into race results. then into the reverse grid to see how that will pan out for these drivers. Who's going to get to start on the pole, and who is going to have to make their way through the field from a long way back?
I think Jason didn't get enough airtime in the first race, so this is his moment. Because of the incident, he was further down the order than he's used to being. So he's thinking, come on boys, my time to shine. Let's show delivery off, despite the damage.
Beautiful lime green paint scheme to accent that. Beautiful paint scheme, to be honest with you. The bright green wheels and bright green roll cage. Luckily didn't have to use the roll cage today, but the front end definitely got some abuse.
Yeah, it certainly looks like the front left's had a bit of a tough day out. They'll be banging the dance out of that very quickly between races. It's a good thing they don't actually have to put the manual labour in to do so, otherwise I think these guys would be a hell of a lot more careful as he jumps over the last few chicanes. Sorry, last few curbs, I should say. And across the line. And that will give us our race results. For race 1, Jack Ashton then wins the race by just 0.2 of a second from his teammate Ashley Beard. Niels Carstensen rounds out your podium. Dave Hampson finishes in 4th place with Charlie Summers in 5th. Adam McNally is 6th with James McRitchie in 7th for Asymmetric. Martin Plowman, a strong 8th place finish there for Fury Simsport, with Christian Brown and Martin Sampson winning the AM category there in 10th place overall. Stephen Baxter is 11th with Jamie Ayres in 12th, ahead of Max Wright and Carl Hardy, who round out your AM class podium. Abdulkir Al Amri is 15th with Luke Cooper in 16th, followed by Scott Malcolm and Craig Cameron, the two Scotsmen in 17th and 18th, and then another Scotsman, Stuart Dick, in 19th place, with Nick McCarron in 20th. Then you've got Carl Jackalette, Craig Jones, and Jeroen Ursum, with Adam Delmont in 24th place for XI iRacing. Another pair of those cars together, because they always seem to hunt in packs, as their team manager Adam McNally says. Steve Cooley is 25th. Cesare Rizzo is 26th, with Benjamin Mears and Charles Kellyman 27th and 28th. And then behind them in 29th is Josh Rayfield. As we saw, he just beat Joe McDonald and Rob Graham across the line. Good to see Rob didn't lose any other places because of that incident. Andy Maxwell is 32nd with Dale Bennison 33rd, and David Ayres in the 666 car in 34th. Then you've got Brian Holmes in 35th, Kip Stevens 36th, and the cars one lap down or more are Graham Sessford, Jason Cooper, who we just saw then finishing in 38th place, Ben Sharp 39th, Adrian Hendy 40th, and then these guys clearly didn't finish as well. Steve Hefford, Wouter Van Essen, Steve Hansford, Alex Rivette, and Mikey Key for Result Clothing rounds out your field.
So that is your field of almost 40 cars here, actually 42 cars to be exact, and we'll quickly jump over to the reverse grid wheel. As it keeps on spinning around, we'll see, and we are going to get a -2. I believe that is full reverse.
The full -2, so whatever the full would have been, which would have taken us to Jason Cooper, who obviously thought, well, it's worth putting it around the final lap to make sure I'm only one lap down, but it's actually going to be Kip Stevens on pole position ahead of Brian Holmes, which is a very interesting front row. David Ayres is going to be 3rd with Dale Bennison in 4th, and Andy Maxwell will be in 5th position. So if you join Tyler and I can't even say my own name, Tyler and myself, I'll go for, on the iRacing Esports Network, about 10-15 minutes time, we'll bring you race 2 of 4 from the BSR MX5 Pro Series. Don't go away.
Assist to the front bumper, and he hits him again now. Rayon Fowler into the outside wall.
He's going to pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's going to get them all done with. What amazing!
Lee to the inside goes Logan Cloudman is going to touch in. Pit press sideways. What a save!
Look to the outside as Cronkite goes off. De Jong into 2nd place.
Going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's Howling down to the inside.
trying, there's contact though. Slide left of the racetrack. Chris Renner drives it back down underneath, and he takes that 2nd spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact.
He's going to try and make the move around the outside the parabolica. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cutback here. Get the run out the parabolica. That's beautifully done there. Makashuba, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
finish here of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMeritt at the line.
We're almost out of fuel. You'll have to come in for a splash. Three, two, one, now. All clear. Punch it. Great job. You did really well.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
one.
Welcome back to the iRacing Esports Network, Apex Racing TV, and the Circuit de la Sarthe for the second race tonight in the BSR MX5 Pro Series. Chaz Draycott here alongside Tyler Maxson on the cameras, and we saw quite a hectic first race here, Tyler, but not too manic, but yeah, entertaining all the same.
Yeah, definitely a hectic first race. Grid is up for you on your screen now. Kip Stevens is on the pole alongside Brian Holmes, David Ayers, and Dave Benson. Andy Maxwell and Rob Graham make up row 3. Joe McDonald and Josh Rayfield, row number 4. Charles Kellyman and Benjamin Mias round out your top 10. Charlie Riccio, the first of the pros on the grid, alongside Stephen Cooley, Adam Delmont, alongside Jaron Ursman, Craig Jones and Carl Jacquelet, Nick McKieron and Stuart Dick, Craig Cameron and Scott Malcolm. That is your top 20. Luke Cooper and Alikabar Al-Mary, Carl Hardy and Max Wright. And I believe your grid is just about to go here as they go, and Kip Stevens gets a nice start off the line.
Yeah, good launch from Kip there. Brian Holmes is going to come over to try and defend second place. David Ayres didn't get too much of a good start, so he's got a bit of a gap back to him there. You can see the lovely glints on the windscreen as the cars come towards us. Around turn 1 then. Kip Stevens of Swift Cooper Esports leading the way. There's Craig Jones. And through the middle there, that was a really good run by one of the asymmetric cars. Didn't quite catch who that was. I think it might have been Al Amri. He was 3 wide going into the first chicane. Now they are then going under the Dunlop Bridge and down through the very twisty section here before they get onto the main back straight, of course. But Kip Stevens has got right good company in the form of Brian Holmes right now as Rizzo goes up to 5th position. He's gained 6 places already, and so has Adam Delmont. Jamie Ayres has gained 11 spots. Oh, there's an accident at the back. Adrian Hendy is one of the drivers involved, I think. Actually, sorry, no. Andy Maxwell, Josh Rayfield, Jeroen Ursum and Charles Kellyman are in there. Oh, there's a car off on the inside. Oh, Andy Maxwell just gets turned by Alex Rivette. Real shame there. Maxwell was just minding his own business, slowed down for an incident, and Rivette just went, oh, sorry.
Yeah, so he just got hit there. Unfortunate for him. There you can see spanning out 3 and 4 wide, but we're looking at your battle right now for the lead. Brian Holmes over Kip Stevens. Stevens now down into the first corner. He is going to, through the first Mulsanne chicane. Brian Holmes is going to lead him. They're all battling even further back. Now we can see a big group of about 7-8 cars there. They're all going to fan out 2 wide, about 6 back now.
That's a hell of a train coming towards us. Looks like Benjamin Mias is trying his luck there, leaning on Dale Bennison. But this is going to be a slipstream fest. They just need to be careful that if they change lines halfway down the straight here, that they don't just clip the front end of a car behind them and, you know, get turned into the wall, because it can be a massive accident at the speeds they're doing here. They're going 3 wide at the front of this pack. That's Carl Jacquelet in the middle, Jamie Ayres down the inside, Benjamin Mias. Oh, Jamie Ayres nearly makes contact with the front of Jacquelet's car. They all get it stopped very well. And everyone sorts themselves out on the exit. Jamie Ayres, though, the real winner in that one. What a fantastic drive he's got off the corner. But now, of course, wow, hello. Craig Cameron there, behind Bennison and Jones, and Nick McKerron's on the left, getting a push from, I believe, it's the number 61 car. That's Stuart Dick on the left-hand side. There is McRitchie, his teammate. As they go over the crest then, towards Mulsanne corner. Rizzo on the brakes. This is for 3rd place with Rob Graham putting the pressure on. But Brian Holmes has taken the lead of this race from Kip Stevens. But as we saw before on this one, Tyler, that's just, well, it's not even the start of it yet. They've got to think strategy.
Yeah, definitely got to think strategy. They also got to think about getting the car to the end. We saw some big competitors last time not able to get the car to the end, and that actually ended up costing them a whole load of times. That's just, they got to keep it smart all the way through the race. You don't want to lose it on lap 1. You do have a reverse grid to help you, but it's still not what you want to be relying on as far as points-wise.
Yeah, you just got to, even though it's, you know, a race where you've got to be patient at some times, you know, with slipstreaming down the straight, you have to take the opportunities. I mean, if you can try and get past a guy and then get onto the slipstream of the guys in front, then, you know, it's worth doing. Stuart Dick running a little bit wide there. Craig Jones He's going to try and get past him. There's McRitchie in the middle of this fantastic pack. Craig Cameron in there as well. Stuart Dick now on the inside. There's Jack Ashton. Oh, his teammate Ashley Beard comes across on him there. There with Nils Carstensen trying to fight past Mikey Key. Those guys are the top 3 in race 1. Slight contact with Ashton and Key there. Doesn't get turned around, but Carstensen's going to get past him. McRitchie side by side with Jones now. Craig Cameron still watching this battle go on. He's very close to the back of Jones's car, but I don't think he's going to get through here. All the guys using all the road.
As they come into the first of the Porsche curves, you can see there Craig Jones just getting ahead of Craig Cameron, but Cameron is going to go back down his inside. They are going to make a little bit of contact, but they are going to stay mainly clean. Everyone working their way through nicely. Mikey Key looking up to make a position here a little bit further back.
I think Ashley Beard's just finally disposed of him after the slipstreaming probably brought Mikey Key back into this. Interesting bit of news as well. Oh, that's Rizzo and Rob Graham. Rob Graham having a nightmare there. Not quite sure who that was on. We didn't quite see the initial contact that caused him to go around, but Rizzo has dropped a few places now. There's Rob Graham's teammate Benjamin Mears, making sure that Rizzo has only got as much room as he needs. Now, someone that's just popped up on the timing tower on the bottom left is Martin Plowman. And we got some very interesting information in the break from team manager, I believe, Dan Blake from Fiori Simsport. There is Martin. He's the Martin Plowman. I thought it was just a coincidental name, but it's the Martin Plowman of Le Mans, Indy 500 and British GT Championship fame. He actually won the LMP2 class in the 2013 Le Mans 24 Hours with Oak Racing. So it's great to see such big names, you know, taking part in these iRacing series, but just as we see Stephen Baxter go wide there, he got a bit of contact, I think, with either Stuart Dick. Oh, nearly contact with Mears as well. Some of those guys might get a slowdown. I was just going to say though, Tyler, it's great to see big names taking on sim racing. It just shows you how seriously it's taken these days. And, you know, we see a lot of big names in the press from these special events that people do, and obviously the bigger teams in iRacing. But, you know, even in sort of more, I wouldn't say fun, because these guys take it way more seriously than some other leagues take things. But, you know, it's good to see people getting involved from the real world of motorsport and translating it to here.
Definitely awesome. Sim racing has just come so long in the last few years. It's really used now as a training tool for a lot of these drivers, as you can see several drivers going off there. But yeah, it's really just used as a training tool for a lot of these drivers to learn the tracks and learn all the different aspects of it. And this league, especially if you're racing any sort of GT championship, touring car championship, this is definitely a league to watch. As Jason Cooper is going to get spun around there, as I can't even click on him there on the timing screen. So I think that he actually crashed there with Luke Cooper, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, he's just done what we saw. Who was it overdrove the car before? It was Sharp, wasn't it? Ben Sharp. Just getting the throttle on too early, and Jason Cooper's car now represents what it looked like at the end of race 1. Rizzo here trying to go around the outside of McRitchie, both leaving each other very little amounts of room. Oh, that was close on exit. Stephen Baxter's involved as well. And then just behind them is Benjamin Mears. He wants to get up further up the field to chase down David Ayres and Joe McDonald for this AM class victory. Joe McDonald currently leading the way in that class, 4th overall. You can just see him over the crest of the hill ahead of them. David Ayres in the white and red Result clothing car though. He's like a sitting duck for these boys. They're really closing on him at the moment. Into the right hander they go, into Mulsanne corner. Rizzo late on the brakes, very late on the brakes. I think he went into the back of David Ayres there. David's made the corner, not without some damage, but Rizzo's lost a couple of places. Baxter's gone through, McHerron's going to go past him as well. So is Benjamin Mears. And McRitchie now ahead of Ayres. There is Stuart Dick pushing along Carl Jacquelet. Adam Delmont to the right. The 3 wide. There is Rizzo. Oh, it just gets sorted out. Stuart Dick's going to pull out to the left here on Jacquelet. I don't know if Adam Delmont knows that he's 3 wide with the other boys. But this is fantastic racing all the way up and down the field, as we quite often see from this championship, Tyler. And that was very hairy there as Delmont and Jacquelet banged doors.
Yeah, Delmont banging doors. And this is the draft that you see in the MX5. There's so many people going every which way. Some drivers moving up a lot and some drivers hurting by the draft in those cars. But Steven Baxter, he's moved up quite a few positions now. He's up to 6th place. So he's had an absolutely amazing start. And a couple of other drivers just having a little harder time up the grid like they would like to, compared to some of the other ones. So, as we believe, that is Niels Karstensen. No. Yes, we'll try to get a replay of that here.
So he's gone down the inside there. That's Steve Cooley in the number 87 car on his right. Into Arnage. Oh, he's hit the back of the car in front. He sort of blipped out for a second, then it comes back. He's just damaged the front end, unfortunately. That's Benjamin Mears in 7th place. Just looking at the positions gained by some of these guys. Jamie Ayres has gained 22 places to get to 3rd. Oh, there's Rizzo and Ayres around into the wall. I believe it was some sort of snake of contact that put the pair of them in the wall there. It looked like they both sort of lost it in sync, but I'd be interested to see if there was some real shame for the boys. Ben Sharp is in the chat. He's not too happy. He's been taking out 2 races in a row, he says. Carl Jacquelet there going through the final corners now. He's going to overtake Adam Delmont. There is Stuart Dick just in front of them. And here is your race leader, Kip Stevens. So him and Brian Holmes still battling away. They've got 3.8 seconds back to Jamie Ayres. This is now, of course, the final lap of the race, though, Tyler. So these ones are going to be shorter than the other 2.
Yeah, definitely going to be a shorter race. We're on laps now, just 3 laps in this race, so a little bit shorter by 1 lap than the last one. Here is a big, big battle. Niels Karstensen, obviously, with that front end damage, he doesn't have absolutely anything down the straightaway, so that's really going to hurt him down on the Mulsanne. And we also look here with about the 6-car train as they work their way through the first sector and onto the Mulsanne straight. Pretty much, though, the guy on the front, so Stuart Dick right now, is going to be an absolutely hanging duck because he doesn't have any sort of help from any teammates. He's got a bunch of guys that are on different teams behind him, so they're just going to push right by him.
Yeah, they've got to try and work together in terms of the momentum going forward, of course, because you don't want to lose the cars in front down these straights. And if they're getting dragged along by somebody else, you know, it's easily spread out, as you can see here. But great scrapping all the way up and down. Positions constantly changing. I mean, I don't think I've seen my timing screen on my right-hand side move as much as it has in this race. Oh, Scott Malcolm's in the wall. Makes contact with the wall on the left-hand side. I just looked away for a second and then looked back and he was hitting the wall. Some of these guys running wide out of the first chicane. Craig Cameron, one of them there. Carl Jacquelet right behind him. And here is Steve Hefford, making his way through the field. He's 23rd at the moment. Here's Max Wright down the inside of Hampson. Number 18 car there of Christian Brown. Hampson now on the outside of Max Wright. Max is going to try and get through the middle. Now he's going to go to the right-hand side. It's a bit bumpier on that right-hand side, though. And do you reckon that may lose him a little bit of speed down the straight if they don't get the slipstream?
Yeah, definitely a little bit of time will be lost, a little bit of straight line speed possibly if he's just not able to have a draft. I mean, even if you don't have a draft and then you compound it with something like that, you're not going to be gaining any time, I can guarantee you that much, but we still got this humongous battle here. These drivers doing an absolutely awesome job to continue that all the way through the lap. Yeah, like you said though, haven't seen my timing screen move quite as much as I have seen it move in this race. Everyone really battling it out, and all the drivers having to come through the field. I'm seeing huge numbers on the gains here. 16, 17, 18 spots gained in this race. So drivers really doing a great job.
Oh yeah, there's some fantastic drives going on. It's just about sort of keeping your head in these things. Someone that's not done that, I don't know whether it's his own fault, is Benjamin Mears. I do apologise, Ben, if it wasn't your fault. Nearly going 4 wide here, though, Tyler. There's Stuart Dick at the front of this side-by-side with Carl Jacquelet. And then you've got Delmont, Cameron McCarron's in there as well. Rob Graham's in there too. Some of these guys will probably be a bit scared about hearing that. Rob certainly made a name for himself as a very feisty defender, no matter what series, what car, or anything that you're in. Rob Graham will defend a position. Side by side through Indianapolis, they're braver than I am. There's the Northern Lights racing car of Craig Cameron, very striking livery on that car. Carl Jacquelet runs out a little bit wide, now he's going to be on the inside for carnage. Through they go. It's a very difficult corner to get right because it's quite a bumpy braking zone and it's very flat compared to the rest of the circuit. So I've always found that whenever you turn the car in there, no matter what it is, it just feels like it understeers like mad and doesn't want to stop. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I totally agree with that one. It's just the nature of the corner, slightly downhill into a slightly off-cambered exit, so you're just never going to get the full turn-in effect that you would normally get from a normal racing line. And I think it is going to be Brian Holmes who will take the race victory. Now, he's got 4/10 over Kip Stevens, so unless he makes a massive mistake going through the final two four chicanes, I don't think that he is going to be losing that one. The battle, though, that we got to keep an eye on is this battle right here. It's a battle for 10th, and really it extends all the way up to the battle for 7th. So let's see if Charles Jacquelet here is someone's around, and that is Stephen Baxter. So he's going to lose a whole lot of positions here. That is not what he wants here in the final few moments.
No, an absolute nightmare for Steve Baxter. I was talking to him before the races started tonight, and I was saying that last week it was his first week back in the MX5, and his pace looked really good, his racecraft looked really good. He just got caught up in incidents that were really unfortunate. But Brian Holmes has won the race ahead of Kip Stevens. Jamie Ayres, fantastic podium, 22 places gained. James McRitchie, who we saw there, 26 positions gained to 4th. Really good scrap of those guys there across the line. Barely tenths of a second separating a lot of those boys. Here's a good scrap here. Dave Hampson. He's got Van Essen behind him. Nils Carstensen and Jason Cooper, two teammates, having a good ding-dong there. And Christian Brown beats Cooper over the line as well. Here's side by side is Josh Rayfield and Charles Kellyman. It's a very difficult section to get right no matter what car you're in. Those few chicanes, it can make or break a lap when you're trying to get a hot lap in. Steve Cooley's just going to beat Rayfield to the line. And another battle there between Ursum and Maxwell. Here is Carl Hardy for Result Clothing. A little bit of damage on the front right of that car. A little bit of damage on the front of Adrian Hendy's car as well for Year 1 Racing. There is Carl across the line in the 375 machine. And there is Adrian Hendy. I think Luke Cooper is the last car on track. He's just coming into Indianapolis. So once again, the Swift Cooper Esports car is getting plenty of airtime here, Tyler.
Yeah, definitely getting plenty of airtime. I wonder if that's their strategy here. Here, let's see if we can benefit from the reverse grid and be so far back that they have to give us a bunch of airtime because we're the only car left running on the track.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. I might have to do that in future when I'm racing in leagues and just think, oh, I'm not having a good race. I'll just put it in a wall and, you know, take a couple of minutes to bring it over the line. It's crazy, but it's a good idea. It works, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely not the worst idea if you're not having a good weekend for those guys. So, but they will just be finishing up here through as he works his way through the Porsche curbs and then into the four chicanes, and we'll get ready for the grid or the results. Sorry, to come up.
Good display though from Luke Cooper that, you know, even with a really damaged car you can launch it about, get a bit sideways and still get it round in respectable time. He's probably still going quicker than I would be. I mean, I'm no good in these MX5s. I'd imagine you're a lot more handy than me in these things though, Tyler, but you know, I mean, you can see by these boys there's a lot of talent in this field.
Yeah, definitely a ton of talent in this field. I mean, these guys are just some of the best in the MX5 on iRacing. I mean, some of these guys it's going to just so hard to beat. And it's like, they just provide some absolutely insane racing. And there we go. Results are now available for us.
Brilliant stuff. Brian Holmes wins race 2 of the evening then ahead of Kip Stevens. Jamie Ayres rounds out a very impressive podium there after gaining 22 places. James McRitchie was the one with 26 places gained in 4th position. Joe McDonald wins the AM category in this race with Carl Jacquelet 2nd, 6th overall. Then it's Adam Delmont, Craig Cameron, Stuart Dick and Nick McCurran scoring more vital championship points, running out your top 10. Charlie Summers is 11th ahead of Ashley Beard. Rob Graham gets a AM-class podium, with Stephen Baxter 14th, Jack Ashton 15th. Then it's Craig Jones, Dale Bennison, and Scott Malcolm is in 18th position.
And I'll quickly flip that over there for you. There we go.
Thank you very much. Benjamin Mears 19th. Steve Hefford rounds out your top 20. Abdulkir Al-Amri is 21st ahead of Mikey Key. Martin Sampson. Graham Sesford for Year 1 Racing. Max Wright is 25th. Martin Plowman is 26th with Dave Hampson in 27th. And Wouter van Essen is in 28th place. Then you've got Nils Carstensen, Christian Brown, Jason Cooper after that unfortunate spin earlier. Steve Hansford 32nd. Stephen Cooley is 33rd. Josh Rearfield 34th. With Charles Kellyman, Jeroen Ursum, Andy Maxwell, and Carl Hardy just behind him. And then the cars that, Luke Cooper was the last running car there behind Adrian Hendy. And then you've got Cesare Rizzo, David Ayres, Ben Sharp, Adam McNally, and Alex Rivette rounding out your field.
And there's just the end of the field there. We'll quickly get a replay of what happened to Rizzo. So quickly jump to a TV camera. Yeah, that was the sort of damage that he had. We'll see if I can go back in time here and pull up a nice replay. I cannot. So that is going to be it. I'm going to quickly jump over and grab the reverse grid. So quickly going to just have to sort out one audio issue really quick with the reverse grid. Then I will be able to actually do the reverse grid for you. So there we go. Sorry about that. Just halving the reverse grid music. And we'll go ahead and roll that one. And it will be -1. So we're going to get another full reverse -1 here in the BSR MX5 Pro Championship.
Ironically enough, that will mean that Cesare Rizzo is on pole position with Luke Cooper alongside him on the front row. Then if your name starts with H and ends in a D and a Y, then Adrian Hendy and Carl Hardy will be very happy to be on the second row. I can't even count. Andy Maxwell will line up 5th behind them. So if you join Tyler and I in another sort of 10-15 minutes on the iRacing Esports Network, of course, we'll bring you race 3 of 4 from the BSR MX5 Pro Series. Don't go away.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
come in for a splash. 3, 2, 1, now. All clear, punch it. Great job, you did really well.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
quickly to the inside goes Logan Cloudman is going to touch in. Pit press, sideways, what a save!
Look to the outside as Tronke goes off. De Jong into second place.
Going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's howling down to the inside.
Trying, there's contact though.
Wide left of the racetrack. Chris Renner drives it back down underneath, and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact. He's going to try and make the move around the outside the parabolica. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cutback here. Get the run out the parabolica. That's beautifully done there. Makashuve, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
Welcome back to Apex Racing TV and the iRacing Esports Network for the third race tonight from the BSR MX5 Pro Series at the Circuit de la Sarthe. Chaz Draycott here with you once again with Tyler Maxson on the cameras. And, well, Tyler, we've seen some very, well, lap-wise, short races, but it's been very exciting stuff from these guys so far.
Yeah, definitely some very, very exciting racing from these guys. They're just so wonderful around this racetrack. So much draft, and as the session has just gotten advanced, I will quickly, as soon as I get the grid to me, I will quickly let you run through the grid order.
Okay, so I'll do one of my standard fast grid readouts here, so keep up. Cesare Rizzo, Luke Cooper, Adrian Hendy, Carl Hardy, Andy Maxwell, Jeroen Ursum, Charles Kellyman, Josh Rayfield, Steve Cooley, Steve Hansford, Jason Cooper, Christian Brown, Nils Carstensen, Wouter Van Essen, Dave Hampson, Martin Plowman, Max Wright, Graham Sesswood, Martin Sampson, Mikey Key, rounds out your top 20. And it's Abdulkir Al-Amri, Steve Hefford, Benjamin Mears, Scott Malcolm, Dale Bennison, Craig Jones, Jack Ashton, Stephen Baxter, Rob Graham, Ashley Beard, Charlie Summers, Nick McCarron, Stuart Dick, Craig Cameron, Adam Delmont, Carl Jackalette, Joe McDonald, James McRitchie, Jamie Ayres, Kip Stevens. That's your top 40. Then it's Brian Holmes, David Ayres, Ben Sharp, Adam McNally, and Alex Rivette rounds out your grid.
And that was thoroughly impressive, I will have to say, as I could hardly even keep up with pushing the button fast enough to get to the next group of guys. So definitely very, very impressive there, as they are just now running through. Just waiting now. We should have, and there they go.
Got a huge gap in the grid. I think there's a couple of guys starting from the pit lane, and funnily enough, they're all four cars together on the grid. So it's Rizzo leading them away then from Luke Cooper, and then it's Hendy and Hardy. That sounds like a comedy duo if I've ever heard one, but look at the gap back to Steve Cooley. Jason Cooper's there as well. They're nearly 5 wide in the middle of the field there. Steve Hefford is involved in that. Martin Sampson, Joe McDonald, Mikey Key, Carl Jackalette. Sorry, not Carl Jackalette, it was Graham Sessford. I got the wrong number. There's Carl Hardy in the number 375 machine, Jason Cooper in the number 1, Steve Hefford there out of turn 2. And we were just saying, Tyler, before this race, the conditions are a lot cooler in this one, so these guys will have a lot more grip around places like the Porsche curves.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have a lot more to use to their advantage. This also should promote some better racing, as we're seeing a lot of their back. My timing keep up with everything that's going on. Absolutely, completely freaking out. There we go. We're 3 and 4 wide. They're
going for it now as they go down to the straight. It's all about getting a really good run out of that right-hander, of course, but, you know, if you've not driven the track before, wow, they're 4 wide there in the middle. The number 24, which is Ben Sharp. He's had a bit of a nightmare race evening so far. He's got Jamie Ayres one side, Adam McNally the other. They're 3 wide now as they go down the straight. I don't know about you, Tyler, but the frame rate for me at my end has absolutely gone down the pan, which just shows how good my PC is. We've got Excite Energy iRacing cars all around, and they never are on their own. They're always together. And the fantastic stream of very bright and colourful liveries, as we often touch on, makes their way through the first chicane. There is the Martin Plowman. I'm going to call him that from now on. So if you do watch this back, Martin, I do apologise. Carl Hardy there, side by side with Steve Cooley, and for the lead, it's Cooper and Rizzo. Just to touch on as well, actually, if you look at 40 seconds.
So much going on here in one lap.
Oh, there's a car around after the first chicane. I was just going to say, on the track map, you can see 42nd and the other cars behind that started from the pit lane so far back, and they've not got a chance really around here without the slipstream, have they?
Absolutely not, and unless they can all hook up together. We're looking at this battle way further back, down to 30th. A lot of drivers making up a lot of spots right off the line. I would like to know what happened with the drivers that did start from the pit lane, though, because unless they had a penalty, there was absolutely no reason to for them. But they did start way back, unless they're trying to get that perfect reverse grid going into next race, because we've had so many full reverses so far. Every one of them has been. So, strategy or not?
I think it's penalties, if I'm honest with you. A lot of the time, the penalties that get carried over are either things like an exclusion from qualifying. Oh, Carl Hardy hits the back of Hansford, who comes back across the track, and they're just stopped in Mulsanne corner. Oh, it could have gone a lot worse. There was a lot of checking up there, and I think that is going to be Stephen Baxter stopping on the right-hand side again. It was a bit of a nightmare there as they stopped. I think, to be fair, stopping on the apex, you could argue it wasn't the best idea, but they could have tried to move out of the way and, you know, turned across the front of people. It's really bunched the pack up, though. You can see Adam Delmont in the middle there between Carl Jacquelet and who's that with him there? I believe it's one of the Fury Sim Sports cars. I think it's Plowman. It is, or it was anyway. There's that much slipstreaming going on that battle's dissipated already. 3 wide there, Graham, Jacquelet, Delmont. There is Plowman, behind him he's got Beard. And there's Jacquelet now with Delmont going down the inside. Running wide on the right hand side is Martin Sampson. Jacquelet gets out of the move, makes a little bit of contact. Who's going to be late on the brakes there? Oh, it's so close, a 2x2 everywhere. It's like Noah's Ark, this.
Yeah, everyone just going through 2x2. They're 2x2, about 10 back. So there's so much battling there in the midfield. Everything is just red here on my timing screen. I'm not really seeing anything more than that. But yeah, everyone just going 3 and 4 wide down every single straightaway they want. Come on, guys, calm down just a little bit. We're only on race 3.
This is bonkers. And don't forget, they've got another race after this that usually goes under lights. So God help us when that comes around. Look at Ben Sharp round the outside of Ashley Beard and Max right there. I think Max is having issues because of the damage. Jason Cooper lead. Oh wow, we've got a car. That's Mikey Key. He's having a nightmare in the Porsche curves tonight. There's cars avoiding it. People not slowing down though. And we see that quite a lot where people just don't slow down for incidents. Rob Graham's down the order. Kip Stevens is involved there as well. There's Craig Jones. There's one of the Year 1 racing cars as well. Another one of them has just gone past 2. I'll try and have a look at the list that we've got here. You got Benjamin Mears, Graham Sessford, David Ayres, Max Wright, Kip Stevens, Craig Jones, who we can see there with no front end on the car. Real shame, but it does happen as Delmont leads this massive train of cars. And this is 16th back, so this isn't even like a battle for the lead or anything. This is just 16th all the way down to 29th place. It's an absolutely incredible battle, so close between a lot of them.
Yeah, and that's just one of those things. If everyone was just a bit more patient, I think that they would have had a bit more luck with it when it comes to that. No one wanted to be patient. Everyone wanted to take the risk, and it actually ended up pretty bad for a lot of them. I have the full list, I think, of the drivers that were involved in that incident. I'm going to try to queue up the replay for what exactly happened at the start of that. We got 2 drivers off.
Carstensen and the number 15 of Wouter van Essen. Sorry, Wouter van Essen. I keep getting told that I'm saying it wrong. There he is. I need to get that team name from them as well, actually, because we've got them down as just Netherlands at the moment, but they do have a team name. I think it's OSLH Con Racing with Andy Maxwell, but I will confirm. I think I confirmed it last week, I won't lie. So, oh, that is Adam Delmont going slowly.
So did Adam Delmont just get a slowdown penalty? If he did, that's just going to absolutely kill him here. Because, yep, I believe that looks to be like a slowdown penalty.
Yeah, he seems to have got going again now. Maybe he might have spun coming into the, well, out of the right-hander. We'll have to have a look at that maybe later on. We'll see. Here is the battle for the lead then. And it's Hendy at the moment for Year 1 Racing. Battling with Jason Cooper. Good to see Jason back up there tonight. He's usually a race 1 winner. He's always very quick in qualifying. There's a reason he's got the number 1 on his car. He's not just vain. Hampson up to 3rd in the background. There's a couple of SimLab cars there having a good battle as well. Rizzo, Hefford, Hampson. Jason Cooper and Hendy. It's pretty much a deadlock at the moment. And I did get it right. It is OSLH Con. Brilliant. I could never remember. I know it's a lot of capital letters. But Jason Cooper leads the way. Oh, Al Amri has disappeared. He's just showing us out of the race and dropping down the order, unfortunately. Not sure whether he's disconnected or something. But he's had a real issue that's put him down the field. Great shots, these guys just making their way through the chicanes, though, and just trying to carry the momentum.
Yeah, and as you said, right now we're sitting at 9 cars right now who are currently out of this race, or at least out of contention for the race. You can see so many of them in the pit lane. We have 1 driver moving, but everyone else just pretty much out of the race. So that's so awful for them. And as we're going to look back at the battle for the lead, Adrian Hendy is going to look around the outside of Jason Cooper. He's going to try and get as close as he can there, try to get the side draft. It isn't going to work. So we'll see if he tucks back in line. No, he's going to continue it and try it down into Indianapolis. Try it around the outside in Indianapolis. You can also see him going 2 wide behind Jason Cooper, or Luke Cooper, I'm sorry, and Dave Hefford. I believe that is side by side, or Steve Hefford, sorry. And as they head down into the corner, they are going to get it. So that was Dave Hampson, sorry, and Steve Hefford, the 2 SimLab cars going side by side down the back straightaway. And we'll also look a little bit further back. Going to be 2 by 2 again, or towards the back of the field.
Scott Malcolm and Stuart Dick there side by side. The asymmetric car coming out on top there. Scott getting on the brakes into Indianapolis. Oh, side by side here, Carl Jacquelet and Adam McNally. Adam's been a little bit under the radar for me tonight. Normally he's up there, but he's not had a sort of, well, I mean, lighting the timing screens up so far. This is Hendy then and Hefford. Hefford now trying to get involved in this lead battle. He'll want to go after Jason Cooper for the race win. 1 lap to go after this one. Doesn't sound like a lot, but when you know that a lap's about 5 minutes, plenty of time. Around the outside in the Porsche curves, nicely done by Steve Hefford. Dave Hampson is now going to try and go through as well on the number 33 car of Hendy. They've got Luke Cooper, of course, just waiting in the wings behind them here. They did have Rizzo trying to help them out as well before, did the SimLab cars, but he seems to have dropped off quite a bit. Not sure whether Hendy might have got slowed down through the Porsche curves there, because he was very wide onto the little runoff area, and it's easy to get one. Hampson a little bit later on the brakes gets it done. Nice straightforward move for him. And he's going to want to go chasing after his teammate, and of course race leader Jason Cooper now. As just in the background there, Hendy a little bit out of shape. Luke Cooper gets it sorted. Here's that fantastic battle. Abdulkader Al Amri is heading for the pit lane. He did sort of flash in and out a little bit. I think he disconnected at his end and then came back just momentarily. This is Ashley Beard chasing down Ben Sharp. He's just got the run out of the last corner by the look of it here, Tyler. I think he might get it done into the chicane.
Yeah, I think he may be able to get it done into the first chicane, but we'll see here. Beard looking down the inside of Ben Sharp, and Sharp is just going to hold it around the outside, and I think he's going to be able to get that done. Yes, he is. So he will be able to get it done, but he is actually going to hold it there on the exit. He's going to get a fantastic exit there compared to Ash Beard, and now they're actually going to go 3 wide down the hill momentarily there, but they do slot back in line, and I think it's going to be, no, it's not actually. Ben Sharp still down the inside. He does end up finally getting ahead there of Ash Beard, so
great
stays
racing
ahead. But those 3, absolutely awesome battle.
Yeah, that was great stuff by Ben Sharp. I was told earlier he won the second race last night in the Monday MX5 Cup that these guys do for the AM drivers. He won the second race in that one, so He's no slouch, is Mr. Sharp. As we see Steve Hefford now. Just sort of working together with Dave Hampson here. What they're gonna want to do is make sure they slipstream past each other, but don't do it in a way where they disturb the momentum of the other car. So they'll be working together to close up on Jason Cooper. Seems to be working for him so far. This battle still rages on. Adam McNally trying to get the most of the slipstream from Ashley Beard and Ben Sharp as well. Beard turns in. Nice commitment there. He's down the inside. And he makes it stick. Finally staying ahead of Ben. But Ben's going to get the run now. And so is Stuart Dick on Adam McNally. So they're going to be pushing each other down the straight. And unbelievably, this is for 14th, 15th, 16th and 17th place. You'd think it was for a race win the way these guys are going about it. A little bit further back, another great train of cars here. Adam Delmont, who had issues earlier, with Nick McCarron, Scott Malcolm, Martin Sampson, Steve Hansford, Steve Cooley. And wow, 4 wide. 4 wide with Stuart Dick, Adam McNally, Ashley Beard. Ashley Beard's coming over a little bit. Stuart Dick has to get out of it. And round the outside into the chicane, Ben Sharp gets the job done on 2 of the Excite cars. Brilliant manoeuvre. Great commitment once again. He saw what Ashley Beard did last time and thought, I'm going to have me some of that. There you go, boys. Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely awesome job from him. He just had the commitment there, just sent it around the outside. And just awesome job from him. And now Ash Beard all the way down the inside. They're going to go 4 wide again. So that is another 4 wide from those guys. Those guys just are not afraid. And this is, like you said, for 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th.
McNally trying to be as late on the brakes as possible. Ashley Beard now leads the group. This is 3 wide for the race lead. Dave Hampson nearly on the grass. Or he is on the grass a little bit. He's trying to stay out of the way. Jason Cooper on the inside. And then you've got Steve Hefford on his left-hand side. Oh, they nearly make contact into Indianapolis. Really brave stuff from these boys. They've raced together for a while. Side by side here for Luke Cooper and Jack Ashton. Luke Cooper down the inside of the Excite Energy iRacing car. Is another one of the Excite cars with another SimLab car, Jamie Ayres. Oh, and it's all gone to pot for these boys. That's Stuart Dick, Ashley Beard, Benjamin Sharp. Ashley needs to get that car out of the way. So does Ben Sharp. He needs to definitely not pull back on the track there. Oh, that was a real shame, that. I'd like to have a quick look back and see what happened. You're already on it. You can read my mind, Tyler. So they're 4 wide through there. We'll just see. Oh, and it looks like Beard is just bouncing off car to car. He's just wobbling around between Stuart Dick and Ben Sharp. Look, there you go. Yeah, Dick comes over, and yeah, it's just a tiny touch. It's a shame, really, but they were 4 wide, so they were all risking it. But that was great racing up until that point, though, between those boys.
Yeah, absolutely great racing up until then, but that's just the risk that you take, especially here at Le Mans, with how much speed you're carrying, and that is going to be a slowdown, I think, there for Steve Hefford in the SimLabs car. And yes, I think he just confirms it for me. But now Dave Hampson has got to try to get by him and then go chase back down Jason Cooper. And actually, that is not a slowdown there for Steve Hefford. So maybe the 2 SimLab cars will work together here, heading, and no, actually, I'm sorry, this was lap 3, and they're heading to the final corner.
I was going to say, they're going to have to make it quick if they're going to do it. Jason Cooper wins race 3 of the evening, ahead of Steve Hefford, Martin Hampson. Martin Hampson? Dave Hampson, I'm thinking of Martin Sampson. And then in 4th place was Charlie Summers, and it was Jack Ashton, another Swift Cooper Esports car of Luke Cooper. Here we see Scott Malcolm. And there is Adam Delmont defending from Stuart Dick. Stuart Dick survived that incident from before fantastically. Delmont really parks on the exit, gets a slowdown, and Martin Sampson goes through and overtakes the pair of them and gets an AM-class podium. Very well deserved. There's James McRitchie having issues across the line. More cars filtering their way through. There's Jeroen Ursum of Excite Energy iRacing as well. Just behind him is Charles Kellyman. Oh, Jeroen nearly runs wide. Charles Kellyman does. And the number 51 car crossing the line. And there's Abdelkir Al-Amri after his earlier issues. There's Andy Maxwell coming around the final corner. But yeah, not quite sure what happened to Al-Amri. There's Ashley Beard making a very, very valiant attempt to get that MX5 across the line. Oh, Al-Amri's lost it behind him. I was just about to say he's going to get the place. And just as it gets to the final corner, he doesn't quite do it. Abdulkir Al-Amri there. I thought he was going to do a wonderful drift around him, but yeah, didn't quite manage it. Another chaotic race, but yeah, well, another good win for Jason Cooper. There's another very damaged car of Niels Carstensen. Plenty of steering lock. I imagine those tyres are going to be screaming blue murder at the end of this.
Definitely not going to be like in life.
Look at the state of that.
And then here's Rob Graham. I wonder what happened to him, because he doesn't look as if he's got any damage at all, unless he's just come in and fixed it. Because, you know, the iRacing mechanics are absolutely wonderful, if you guys haven't known. They can fix an entire car and a blown engine in about 15 minutes, which is just incredible.
Oh yeah, they are very talented boys. I think they've been watching the Audi sport team when they changed. I think they changed the entire engine and gearbox or something, didn't they? In like 15 minutes in the R18 or R15. I can't remember which one it was, but yeah, I think Rob did come in and fix some damage earlier, and he's not going to be a lap down, and that's the important thing for these boys, because the cars that are eligible for the reverse grid in this series, if anyone didn't know, are the ones that are 1 lap down or less. If you're 2 laps down, then you're not eligible for the reverse grid. So if it does go to a full reverse, only the cars that were a lap down or less are considered for it. So on a track like this, where you can't really go a lap down in a race, let's face it, it's worth doing that extra lap at the end, isn't it, to get, you know, to get the chances.
It definitely worth it. Just like you said, absolutely worth it. To do that extra lap.
Wow, 11 minutes.
Did you Rob Graham? It's going to come across the line.
Joe McDonald, sorry, did an 11 minutes 11 minutes 50 lap there. So not the fastest lap of the race. Dale Bennison actually did a 16 minute 50 second lap as well.
And there we go. Race results are up on your screen.
Jason Cooper then wins race 3 of the evening from the 2 SimLab drivers, Steve Hefford and Dave Hampson. Not Steve Hampson. Charlie Summers finishes 4th ahead of Jack Ashton and Luke Cooper, meaning that once again it's SimLab, Swift Cooper Esports and XI iRacing at the top. Year 1 Racing's Adrian Hendy put up a great fight and finished in 7th place. Cesare Rizzo in 8th, with Christian Brown 9th, and Carl Hardy, your AM-class winner, in 10th place. That would be Jamie Ayres in 11th, Carl Jacquelet in 12th, Brian Holmes 13th, Adam McNally 14th, Alex Rivette in 15th, and it's Martin Sampson, Nick McCarran, and Stuart Dick in 18th. Then it's Adam Delmont, Scott Malcolm, Stephen Cooley, Steve Hansford, Wouter Van Essen, or Wouter Van Essen, I still can't remember which way you told us to say it, I do apologise, mate. James McRitchie 24th, Ben Sharp 25th, Josh Rayfield in 26th, followed by Jeroen Ursum, Charles Kellyman, Andy Maxwell, and Ashley Beard rounding out your top 30. Then you have Abdulkir Al-Amri, Dale Bennison, Niels Carstensen, and Rob Graham. And then Martin Plowman, Joe McDonald were a lap down. They'll be eligible, for the reverse grid. And then the cars 2 laps down or more, with Stephen Baxter, Mikey Key, Kip Stevens, Craig Jones, Graham Sesford, Benjamin Mears, Craig Cameron, Max Wright, and David Ayres rounds like your 45 car field.
And we'll quickly go ahead and head over to the reverse grid. So reverse grid is going to get rolled there. Just wait on it and see what we get. And it is going to give us 15. So we're going to get the top 15 people reversed here. And let's quickly just jump back onto the race results and see. That's actually the smallest that we've had all night. It will be Alex Riviere on the pole alongside Adam McNally and Brian Holmes, your top 3.
Interesting to get 2 XI Energy iRacing cars up there as well. But they'll have Jamie Ayres for company in the SimLab car. He's going to be starting 5th. So it's going to be a very interesting final race of the night. And of course, we say the night, it's going to be under lights. So if you join Tyler and I in about 10-15 minutes time, we'll bring you the 4th and final race from Circuit de la Sarthe and the BSR MX5 Pro Series. Don't go away.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Coming for a splash. 3, 2, 1, now. All clear, punch it. Great job, you did really well.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Once again, photo finish here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMerick at the line.
Welcome back to Apex Racing TV and the iRacing Esports Network and Circuit de la Sarthe for the fourth and final race tonight in the BSR MX5 Pro Series. And as you can see, we're under lights. Chaz Draycott here alongside Tyler Maxon on the cameras. And just quickly to run through your grid then, Alex Rivette on pole position ahead of Adam McNally. And we've got Brian Holmes, Carl Jacquelette and Jamie Ayres 5th on the grid. Carl Hardy is 6th with Christian Brown 7th. Then it's Cesare Rizzo, Adrian Hendy, Luke Cooper, Jack Ashton and Charlie Summers in 12th position. They're then followed by Dave Hampson, Steve Hefford, Jason Cooper, Martin Sampson, Nick McCarron, Stuart Dick, Adam Delmont and Scott Malcolm rounds out your top 20. Then we've got Stephen Cooley, Steve Hansford, Wouter Van Essen, James McRitchie, Ben Sharp, Josh Rayfield, Jeroen Ursum, Charles Kellyman, Andy Maxwell and Ashley Beard rounds out your top 30. You can see the rest of them scrolling through now. I'm not sure about you, Tyler, but I'm getting some very strange sound effects from those aircraft flying over. As the lights are on, there is Alex Rivette, the pole sitter, and he's away. Great shot of the floodlit Circuit de la Sarthe. Look at all the little MX5 headlights. And obviously the new updates that iRacing have done in the past sort of 6 months or so, looking fantastic at night here, Tyler.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking awesome as Alex Rivette in the Year 1 racing car is going to lead him through turn 1. Jamie Ayres is going to try to get a good one. And who is that off? And I believe that is Adam McNally. So he's way off the circuit there. I'll try to get a replay for that one here in just a moment. But everyone kicking off behind them. They're 3 and 4 wide as they work their way down through the first sector now, getting ready to go through and onto the Mulsanne straight where it's all going to kick off here. Everyone going 2-3 wide here in the final race because they just got absolutely nothing to lose.
There's a car off as well, just in the right-hander there before where the camera is placed now. I can never remember the name of it. I think it was Carl Hardy, that's gone flying down the order, unfortunately. Adam McNally just seemed to lose it going to the chicane. Oh, Jason Cooper's on his roof. There's a SimLab car in the middle. There's more SimLab cars involved. Nick McCarron's in there. This guy's just not slowing down. Everyone's coming to a stop. Oh, Scott Malcolm is completely wedged in the fence there. Jeroen Ursum has just been smacked into by one of the OSL HCon cars. I'm not quite sure who that was. That's an absolute mess.
Yeah, so a lot of drivers off there. That's just unfortunate. All those drivers off into this race. I mean, so we're pretty much already down to 20 in this race so far. We don't have many of them left racing as there is a battle for the lead. It is Brian Holmes ahead of Jamie Ayres and Alex Rivette. So Rivette is going to make it 3 wide. So they're going to go 3 wide now, and you got to think, there's Carl Jacquelette. He's going to look all the way to the right-hand side. They're going to pull back into 2 rows of 2, and let's see who's going to get the better run. Rivette is now going to pull back in line in front of Holmes, pull the block, and Jamie Ayres is going to continue with the overspeed, and I think he is going to be able to go into the first position.
Yeah, late on the brakes, gets the job done. Rivette stays in second, Holmes is third now. And there's a bit of bunching further down. That was Dave Hampson, and there is Martin Sampson. There's Hendy in 6th place. He's had a really good start, to be fair. He's gone up 3 positions already. Mikey Key is up 20 places, so is Craig Cameron, and Max Wright is now up 21. He is the biggest mover in the field. So some great progress by these boys, obviously helped by that accident, but yeah, it was a real shame to see that. I'm not quite sure what kicked it all off, but it seemed like it was Cesare Rizzo in the middle of the road when he was stopped, and Jason Cooper was on his roof and completely rolled over. It was just, well, it could have been anything. Someone could have just been turned into the wall as 2 cars came closer together as they got into the straight, bounced back, and that was that. But what's said is done now. And Brian Holmes and Jamie Ayres scrapping for the lead with Jack Collette now, helping his teammate Rivette. And there's another one of the Year 1 racing cars further behind as well. Here we are on board with Alex Rivette. Goes to the race lead, ahead of Brian Holmes and Jamie Ayres, into Indianapolis then. Who's got the biggest man fruits here? Rivette turns it in. Very well done. Great commitment. Jamie Ayres now down the inside of Brian Holmes. And as you've seen, Tyler, I'm not sure how much of this series you've seen before, but these boys just do not get any slower as the night goes on.
No, definitely not. If anything, they're just improving every single time they go out there. And, ooh, bit of contact there with, looks to be Luke Cooper. And I think that was Dave Hampson who ended up getting into the back of him. Maybe it was Steve Hefford. One of the two, though, definitely making contact. But, yeah, these drivers just getting so good as the night goes on. And as we can just continue on just a little bit more, we're seeing Brian Holmes now trying to slot in behind Alex Riviat, but it is Jamie Ayres who's going to split the two. So the SimLab driver moves up into 2nd place, but that's short-lived. Down the inside goes Brian Holmes again. He's still not going to be able to get it done, though. And as they work their way through, I think that Ayres is going to keep that position there for just the time being. We're seeing a lot of scraps all the way through the field, but in that crash, though, we lost all the way down to 34th place. So that is the last driver in that is 34th place, and as Cesar Rizzo, and I do believe you are correct about that one, is he was the one to start that incident. I will try to quickly grab a replay of that once we finish out the race here tonight. But we got a race going on our hands. You can see someone off very wide there in the background. But as the battle kicks off for the lead here, the two leaders, it's Alex Riviat over Brian Holmes as they work their way up into the first chicane. And you can see there Jamie Ayres, he's going to try to go with Holmes around the outside of Riviat, unless Riviat here can get a really good run. But no, he's just going to slot back in. There goes Jamie Ayres down the inside. He's going to try to move up in front of Alex Riviat. He is going to get the move done. As they work their way out of the first chicane, Alex Riviat down to 2nd in just 1 straightaway and 2 corners. So that's not the start to the race that he wants. Jack Ashton is also right on his bumper now, trying to just push him through. And there you can see, forces him into a little bit of a mistake. And now Jack Ashton is going to have a great run as they head on to Mulsanne. He's also got Charlie Summers right behind him. Charlie Summers quickly getting cut off there by the number 42 Carl Jacquelette in the Year 1 racing car.
Yeah, good scrapping from these guys. And Brian Holmes is going to be very happy that they're all fighting behind him, because it's going to give him more of a lead. But the slipstream will negate that quite quickly. Hefford and Hampson here side by side. Hefford's got the slipstream from Hendy in front of him there. And Cooper giving the slipstream to Hampson. So those guys will be making their advances pretty soon. As we look at 3rd place, Jack Ashton now ahead of Alex Rivette. Charlie Summers just losing out to Jacquelette on the brakes there. There is Cooper and Delmont side by side. The number 33 machine of Hendy. Now Ashton's going to get a great run here. We saw a massive overspeed from him in race 1 tonight. And hopefully he'll be making a charge for the lead any second. There is race leader Brian Holmes in the Excite Energy iRacing car. Jamie Ayres very quickly closing up to the back of him here. Just drops out to the left-hand side of Brian. Really big overspeed for Jamie. He's definitely going to get the move done. Oh, that's very close between Hefford, Delmont. Oh, and Luke Cooper. That was poor, boys. That didn't really have to happen. Cooper's in the middle of the straight. And if I'm honest, I think Steve should have backed out of that one there. It was closing, and maybe they did come across on him, so I'm not going to completely blame Steve. I do apologise, mate. But, you know, when you're in that scenario and you're the car behind, you just get yourself out of it and avoid it, don't you, really?
Yeah, definitely something you're going to try to do. We'll keep an eye on this battle for the lead. Then I do have a replay of what happened there with Luke Cooper, so we'll try to get a replay of that one as soon as this battle for the lead is done. Don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Ayers now looking possibly down the inside of Holmes. He thinks better of it as they head through Mulson's corner. Now on to this long back straightaway here, so he's got a long way to go, and in the draft that's just going to close him up even more. And you can see now Charlie Summers also moving up. Now they're 3 wide heading onto the straightaway. Now you can see these drivers definitely not losing any sort of speed. Everyone just not even acting like they don't even care anymore at this point in the race, because final race of the evening, everyone's going for every piece of road left on the table.
Yeah, these guys don't give one, to be honest. They just absolutely launch it. They certainly do get more and more feisty, and obviously with the reverse grids, not to sound disrespectful to them, but some of the slower guys obviously starting nearer the front of the field, and the pro drivers trying to make their way through a lot of the AMs. But there's a lot of pro drivers already at the top of the field for this one because of the small reverse grid that we got. Steve Hefford there wide onto the gravel with Charlie Summers just behind him. But this battle for the lead, like you say, not coming to an end anytime soon. Brian Holmes really trying to defend from Jamie Ayres, but there's not a massive amount he can do in a straight line, to be honest. We'll have to keep our eye out on them and see whereabouts they end up. Side by side into the Porsche curves. Now Jamie Ayres has got the inside here. He's already got it done before they turn in. Brian Holmes is going to try and keep the momentum though. He's got the optimal line, so he's going to try and get a switch back. Jamie Ayres has just got to really control it through there. Oh, he's a little bit out of shape, but as they go into the right-hander, he's going to run out a bit further wide. Brian doesn't put the nose down the inside. It could have caused an incident, and it's so difficult to get a run through this left-hander. Jamie Ayres has actually gone wide. Brian's got a good run. Behind them there is Alex Rivette in third place. There's a slow car in front of them here, and that is Nick McCarron in the number 2 machine, crabbing slightly to probably give a massive understatement, as Brian Holmes retakes the lead then. And it's going very well then for the Excite Energy iRacing driver, as we already have 1 lap to go for the entire evening here, Tyler.
Yeah, so just 1 lap to go left in the evening. Jamie Ayres, he is going to be chasing down. He's looking for the best result of his evening. Alex Riviat, after starting on the pole, is down in 3rd place. He's still in it with a shot to win it here in the final lap. As we only have these 3-lap races at Le Mans, so a little bit shorter races, a little bit less time for the drivers to really get up to speed and really get it going. And ooh, that's Adrian Hendy getting into the back of Christian Brown, so that'll send him around. Definitely not what you want to see there. And the gaps up front starting to extend just a little bit, but I think that's everyone just spacing themselves out enough so that they can get an uninterrupted run through this corner and down the Mulsanne straightaway. And there you can see Brian Holmes, just a little bit of a slide there. That just gave Jamie Ayres that last 10th, and that's going to really make him have a powerful, powerful slipstream. You can already see closing that gap up massively. And as they head down towards the first Mulsanne chicane, this is where it's going to get interesting. 9/100ths of a second. He is going to move, and he is going to go into the lead. He's just barely ahead of him, though. Alex Riviat not having the best of runs, but he is still going to look by those guys, see if he can't get the draft off Jamie Ayres and both of them possibly, and he's going to close right up there in the braking zone, and he's just going to leave that little bit of a gap again. Jamie Ayres, big twitch there on the exit, though. So that's going to cost him some time. That's pretty much just going to give Brian Holmes an easy move on him. So we'll quickly jump on board here with Holmes. Beautiful onboard shots.
Yeah, you've got to love them. iRacing cameras doing their magic. But now it's brought Rivette into this as well. He's gone from 3rd into the lead here. Carl Jacquelette's going to be sitting at the back going, go on, teammate, go for it. He's sticking to the right-hand side, though, is Jacqueline, so he's not following Rivette through here. He's not going to have the space to do it. Rivette gets it done on the brakes. Jamie Ayres tries to brake a bit later than Holmes, but there's nowhere for him to go. And it's the Year 1 racing car of Alex Rivette leading the way at the moment, so he's doing a cracking job. He started on pole, and to be fair, I think he's the only driver so far tonight that has started on pole and stayed there. Hampson moving out the way of Hefford, knowing that Steve's got a really good run. There's Charlie Summers. And this battle for the lead's still not subdued. Rivette now back down to, well, 4th place behind his teammate Jacqueline. Carl Jacquelette's just going to play it safe here and go for the AM class victory. You've got to think that he's just going to, you know, just be along for the ride at this point, Tyler.
Yeah, definitely just going to try to keep it safe there towards the end. There's really no sense for him to go for the overall victory unless he can just kind of take it easy and get it. Right now he's in a very safe lead with the M-Class victory. Currently Martin Sampson, the closest driver to him, which is all the way down in 10th, so there's no sense for him to push too hard and try to get his nose somewhere that he shouldn't. And as this battle is also heating up as well. This is for 6th place, sorry. I think that actually may all go all the way up to 5th. Yes, it does. So all the way up to 5th place, 5th through 9th right now, battling very, very hard. They're going to be 3 wide possibly going down into Indianapolis. These guys are going for everything that they got here on the final lap of the race.
Yeah, they've just got to take the chances now to get any extra points they can. They're 3 wide into Arnage. It's Jacqueline for the race lead overall in the AM category. Rivette's dropped off these guys quite a little bit. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe lost it into Indy or something, but Jacqueline and Ayres are actually battling for the overall race lead. Ayres has got a really good run. Brian Holmes has dropped off this completely here. So hopefully he can try and tag along as they get through the Porsche curves, but Jacqueline, you've got to think, is going to be going for the race win now. Never mind playing it safe, as I said a minute ago, and just going for the AM win. He's just going to go for the overall win. He's got plenty of time back to Martin Sampson. So if he needs to back out, oh, he's gone wide of the Porsche curves. That's not going to help him. And Brian Holmes is going to have the better line through the left-hander, so he's going to carry the speed. You can see him gradually closing up. Look at the speed Brian Holmes carries around there. He has run a bit wide, though, in essence. But he's going to have a good slingshot through the left-hander. Jamie S chucks it in. They all try and take as much road as possible. Alex Rivette taking a bit more than he might have liked. But what a performance by Carl Jacqueline. And that Auto McNock Hill car in front is going to want to finish after these boys. And Brian Holmes goes down the inside. Jacquelette's gone straight over the chicane. Surely that's going to be a slowdown penalty for him as well, though. Needs to be careful here. But it's going to be Jamie Ayres taking the win. Brian Holmes second, Carl Jacqueline third, Alex Rivette fourth. Look at this across the line. That's Ashton just beating Steve Hefford over the line there for 8th position. Martin Sampson rounds out your top 10 with a 2nd place in the AM category. Very well done to him. And it gets to that point in the evening, Tyler, where it's hard to tell who is who from a straight-on angle, really.
Yeah, pretty much just guessing on who I'm clicking on here. Just trying to keep it at a decently consistent camera angle. But yeah, everyone just now getting finished up. And after that incident, at the end of the race, we only had 30 people finish. So that just as that many people crashed out of the race. Over 15 crashed out there in the end. So that's just not the way you want to end out the final race of the night. There was just so many big incidents that I just don't think that any of those drivers could have even avoided it, to be honest with you. I think everything was just kind of, well, they're pretty much stuck there.
Yeah, there's not a lot you can do when you get involved, really. I mean, a lot of the guys try and move out of the way or get going again as quickly as they can, and it's not always the best option. People always argue on what the best thing to do would be in that scenario. Some of the guys just stop and stay there. As we saw before, the guys were trying to stop in race 3, but they were parked right on the apex of a corner and no one could get around them. So in that instance, it didn't work. But then when you're on the straight, you know, they could just sit there and not move because people are at such a pace. If they dedicate and commit to going to one way, and then the car that's parked up was moving, you know, it ruins the entire thing for them and ends them. You know, it could be a bigger accident either way. But yeah, we see it a lot in a lot of series, and it's not that any series on iRacing is completely immune to those accidents. It does happen. But, you know, thankfully it's been happening less and less in this series of late. And the racing's only getting better and better. And just as Steve Cooley says, right on cue. But hey, that's racing.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely not what you want to be happening, but it is just part of it here. Yeah, just not how these guys wanted to end off the night, I'm sure. Just trying to find any last drivers still running. We can see Drone Yursa in the Excite racing car with some very bent steering. If I do say so myself. Tires are definitely not going to be liking that one.
No, that's going to be hurting it in a straight line, to say the least. And those are going to be some very, very hot front tires on that car. Just waiting for the last few guys now, aren't we?
Yeah, just waiting, I think, mainly here for Jerome Ursum to finish out the race, because I think Rob Graham is going to be decently quick. Jerome, I'm not too sure about, so we may just have to run through the finishing order without the official timing there, because it may be just a minute before I'm able to get that up for you. If I have to, I'll run through that while we're running through interviews tonight.
Yeah, we've got to try and crack on, I suppose, but, well, you know, Jerome's trying. He's pushing to get the car around as quickly as he can. And I think, to be fair, any second now, the session will conclude without him classifying as a finisher. Look at the state of that. That's not the easiest thing to drive. That's it. Well, the driver's almost got one hand on the wheel. He's at about, well, what do you say? That's nearly 360 degrees, a lot to the left, to be fair.
I think he's maxed out on lock. I don't think that he could go any more on the lock than he currently is. And he's still pulling to the right somehow, and I'd really, really like to know how.
Well, I'm sure we can speak to Adam McNally of Excite Energy iRacing and find out from him. He'll probably have answers, you never know. He knows exactly what's going on at all times with his team. As should any good team manager. As Adam is. It's quite a comical sight, really. Look at that, he's trying to go right, but it just won't turn. It'd be interesting to see how he gets around carnage. Oh, it doesn't want to go left either, it's cocking a wheel. Wow, that's an absolute state. I hope your real-life MX5 never looks like this, Tyler.
Yeah, definitely hope not. Had a little similar, I don't want to say similar, but I definitely have had my fair share of incidents, fair share of bad ones. Yeah, just we don't like to talk about those, but definitely not as bad as this one. I will have to say, I think if the cars turned that much in real life, I would just give up.
Fair play to him though for persevering.
I give it to him. I mean, hey, he's determined to finish. Just saying, that car is cocking a wheel higher than a front wheel drive car does around a hairpin. So definitely not supposed to do that if you're wondering in a rear wheel drive, or in any car for that matter. And I think his steering is just nope, never mind.
Yeah, he's just trying to get it round with the car, you know, cocking a wheel. Can't be the easiest thing in the world to do. I wish he knew that we were waiting for him, really. He probably does. He's probably seen the other two. And he's thought, oh, they got plenty of airtime for it, so I'm going to go and do the same. And it's working for him. It's working for Excite. Oh, and there he is. Here's Jason Cooper. Now that really is broken.
No, that's impressive. He's got the wheel cocked going down the straightaway. I think that Jason Cooper wins for worst wrecked car in this race. I think that he's going for all the airtime that he can possibly can, because I know that he was in the pits just about a minute ago. So now we gotta wait for Jason Cooper to round the track about 4.5 more times before we're going to be allowed to continue. So hopefully this session is planning on quitting soon.
Jerome gives up with the chicanes. I'm going to put a screenshot of Jason's car on the Apex Racing TV Facebook page after this. Jerome will be getting out of that car, hopefully very quickly. There is Jason getting to the chicane, and I hope he gives up. I won't lie. I really do hope he gives up. But obviously there's going to be like a 5-minute downtime after the race finishes because of the fact that it's such a long lap here. So it does take that into account. There is the front wheel not quite merging with the floor. And it's certainly an unorthodox method. The camera is even sort of clipping through the floor as well. I think he's stopping the car. Yeah, he's given up. The results are in then. Thank you, Jason Cooper, for not making us wait any longer. Thank you, Jeroen Ursum. Jamie Ayres wins your 4th and final race tonight ahead of Brian Holmes and Carl Jacquelet in 3rd for Year 1 Racing. Takes the AM category win ahead of his teammate Alex Rivette. Charlie Summers is 5th ahead of Dave Hampson, Adam Delmont, Jack Ashton, Steve Hefford and Martin Sampson rounding out your top 10. He's followed by Nils Carstensen, Adrian Hendy, Christian Brown, Stuart Dick, Steve Hansford, Luke Cooper and Andy Maxwell. Then you've got Kip Stevens in 18th, Stephen Baxter in 19th and Mikey Key rounding out your top 20. They're followed by Dale Bennison, Max Wright, Carl Hardy, Joe McDonald, David Ayres, Craig Cameron, Graham Sessford and Benjamin Mears in 28th. And then you've got Rob Graham, Jeroen Ursum is 30th, and then the car's one lap down or more. Nick McKerran, James McRitchie, Martin Plowman, Scott Malcolm, Wouter Van Essen, Steve Cooley, Abdulkir Al-Amri, Jason Cooper, Adam McNally, Cesare Rizzo, Ben Sharp, Josh Rayfield, Charles Kellyman, Ashley Beard, and Craig Jones. Now after... Well, we've already gone over time pretty much, so we'll only probably be able to whack one interview in here, Tyler. What do you reckon? Who should we go for?
You know what? I'm trying to think here because we had a driver. We've got a few very, very good drivers in here that we could speak to. We could speak to Jeroen Ursum because he absolutely was incredible with getting that car back home. And honestly, I kind of want to know how he did that. But also Adam McNally. I think he had a clean night tonight for the most part. It's pretty much up to you.
Well, I have to be a little bit biased because, the wonderful accent already tells you who we've brought in with us. Mr. McNally joins us from Exciting Energy iRacing. I was said earlier in the broadcast, Adam, that was a bit of an under-the-radar performance for you tonight.
Oh, that was a terrible night for me, to be fair. Race 1 was decent. Race 2, dead before 4 turns. Race 3, great, 44th to 14th. I think I got highest positions gained, so a few extra points there.
Yeah.
And then race 4 again, turned from 3rd, and then got caught up with that huge wreck. So, but it's been a good points haul for the team, I suppose.
Yeah, there was obviously a couple of the lads getting decent results at the top, but talk us through that big incident. I mean, we didn't have a chance to look back. We saw Rizzo who was stopped in the middle of the road, and that Jason Cooper was on his roof. Did you see how it all started?
Oh, couldn't tell you. I couldn't see how it started. I saw there was a few cars on the left, so I moved to the right. And then all of a sudden, that road was just blocked as well. And Scott Malcolm was like pointing up in the air and stuck, and that was it. Game over. Car was dead. It's just, like I said, not been a good night for me, but a half-decent night for the team. Congrats to Jack for the win, and Ash second in race 1. Bryven the win race 2 and 3rd race 4.
Yeah, there was some good battling obviously out there. I mean, the slipstream is the main factor here. Did you feel that sort of broke the racing up or made it more interesting?
It depends really. If you get a bit damaged, then you're going to struggle. But it does make the race interesting because you've always got to worry about the car behind having a run on you. When do you make that move? How much time you're going to lose on the exit? How many positions you're going to lose? But it's just not a track I enjoy. I really don't get on with the track.
Yeah. Well, it's a very niche one, as we all know. For hot lapping on your own, it depends on what car you're in. And I imagine in an MX5, it's not the most fun. Someone that does know MX5s inside out there, Tyler, have you got any questions for Adam?
I mean, other than how the crash started, he pretty much already answered that he wasn't quite sure. But yeah, awesome performance tonight, though. Really nice drive from in race 2, I believe that you said that you went from 40th all the way to 14th. Very, very impressive. Great job overall.
All right, thanks.
And we were going to be at Alton Park next week, but I believe it's been replaced, has it? From what I saw on the Facebook group.
I couldn't tell you what track, but yeah, I believe so. Quite good actually, because it's a great track.
I
iRacing
think
need
it
to
might
sort the
be.
pits out.
It might be Sonoma. I think it was Sonoma was mentioned. I know
Right.
what you mean, though. It's a shame that Alton can't host more events because I mean, there's smaller tracks that can host like 60 cars, 61 cars, I think it is, and
Yeah.
you know they've got a pit lane half the size of Alton, so it's a real shame, isn't it?
Yeah, especially when it's such a great little track for racing the MX5s in.
Definitely. Well, I'm sorry, Adam, but we really are over time at the moment, but obviously that brings us to the next 45-minute interval where you go through your sponsors.
Yeah, well, give a big shout out to you lads and everyone on the team, everyone who does the work behind the scenes. To Excite Energy, who are going to be at Glastonbury next weekend with 30,000 cans of Excite.
Nice.
So if you're there, go and grab yourself some. We'll have Lux Sim 24, Motorsport Days Live, Premature Baby Foundation, Racing Mentor, and AR12 Gaming.
Cracking stuff. Well, good to speak to you as always, Adam. Thank you very much for hopping in, and we will speak to you next time round.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers. And yeah, as we say, definitely over time at the moment, unfortunately, Tyler, but great first night working together, I think. How do you reckon that went?
Yeah, I think it was absolutely awesome. Absolutely loved the racing. This series is definitely going to provide some awesome stuff. I tell you one thing, though. If we do go to Sonoma for the next race, I would absolutely not be opposed because Sonoma is an absolutely amazing track. I actually just got off racing them in World Challenge. And it's absolutely just so much fun in these MX5s. It's really, really fun on the sim as well. It's just an absolutely awesome track. Should provide some absolutely awesome racing. There's some very difficult corners there. I think we'll see some very different action than we were seeing here in Le Mans. But just overall, very, very excited.
Well, I look forward to doing it, and obviously we will be there to call the shots with you on the iRacing Esports Network and Apex Racing TV. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitch as well, and we have our own YouTube channel too. Thank you very much to the iRacing Esports Network for having us again, and of course to the BSR MX5 Pro Series for providing such entertaining racing. We will see you at the same time next week on Tuesday night. Have a great evening.